What's up, YouTube? It's your girl T's Corner. I know it's been a while and it's just a lot going on right now in the news and in the media and things like that. So I just wanted to come on and, give my 2 cents about it and see what you thought. I'm going to go ahead and jump right in with Snoop Dogg and Gayle King. I'm not a Kobe fan. I've never been a Kobe fan. I always thought he was arrogant. I thought he was an amazing basketball player and an arrogant human being. So I really had no love for him. At the same time, I will say that anyone who loses their life, you feel sorry in a tragic situation not like that. I mean, now if you're robbing somebody at gunpoint, you get shot. Naturally, I don't care that much. But in a situation like this where you lose your life, something tragic like that, with their friends and their basketball family and his daughter, that was just a tragic event. And my heart went out to his fans, his friends, his family, and, those who are mourning his death. What I thought about Gayle King's comments to Lisa Leslie was it was inappropriate, terrible timing, and for what? That is something that happened in 2003. Like I said, I've never been a fan of Kobe. And in 2003, I thought for sure he did it. Now, doesn't really matter. Probably haven't changed my opinion on it at all. I just thought he always just came across to me, on the court, off the court, whatever, as the most arrogant person, that he would feel like the world actually owed him something, so he would feel like he could take what he wanted. That was my personal opinion of Kobe. I wasn't a headboard or nothing else. I can't say what happened, if it did happen, if it didn't happen, I don't know. And at this point, it no longer matters, because the court system has dealt with it however that was dealt with. It was acquitted, thrown out, whatever. It's over. This man has died, along with 8 other people, one of them being his daughter. And Gayle King asked Lisa Leslie, is that going to tarnish his reputation? It hadn't at this point, so why would it tarnish it now that he's dead? And why would you even ask that question? Because that has nothing to do with what's going on right now. So when Snoop came at her because of what she said about his friend and how he personally felt about someone he had a personal relationship with, I was here for it. She was wrong. He called her out. And everybody automatically jumped on this whole trashing or putting down of black women, and that needs to stop. They need to be uplifted. This had nothing to do with black women. This was about Gayle King personally. And calling her a funky dog head ass bitch or whatever it was that he called her had nothing to do with the rest of us. It had nothing to do with a whole group of people. It had nothing to do with black women or women in general. It had to do with Gayle King. He was talking specifically and directly to Gayle King about how he felt about the mess that she did. Second part of that is the dumbass apology. Whenever someone makes a comment or engages in racially motivated behavior, and then they get dragged through social media and they lose their jobs, the first thing they do is come with a dumbass apology. You're not sorry. You're not even sorry you got caught. You're only sorry about the ramifications of your actions. And that's the way I feel about Gayle King. Don't come on there talking about CBS did this. CBS didn't ask the question. Gayle King did. And I agree with Ricky Smiley. If it was edited, then they had to have edited every word. And I don't think they took the time out to do that. I think your ass was messy. You asked the question. And again, I agree with Ricky Smiley. You should have came out and said I was wrong and I apologize. Not try to shirk the blame onto someone else. Because that don't get you back invited to the cookout. I'm sorry. It doesn't. And I was speaking with a friend of mine who's an educator and probably one of the most brilliant men I know. And he said that he has a problem with cancel culture. Everyone does something wrong, yet the black community is quick to cancel somebody without giving them the opportunity to apologize. I said to a point, I agree with that. But Gayle King had the opportunity to apologize. And instead of doing that, she kind of slung it off on her network editing and posting things without her knowledge. That's not an apology, so she gets canceled. Me personally, I don't cancel Gayle. Gayle is a non-factor in my life. Gayle is Oprah's sidekick. Now, I know that she's probably a brilliant woman. I've seen, some of her resume. She's done some amazing things as a journalist. I'm, just not here for Gayle. I wouldn't know who Gayle was if she wasn't Oprah's best friend. That's just what it is. And I don't watch her show, and I don't, so I don't really know anything about Gayle except she's Oprah's friend. But I'm not canceling Gayle, because I know that I heard that, there was some talk going on, and we was going to either trade her for Ellen DeGeneres or Nancy Pelosi. But, it's whatever. And I felt the same way about Oprah. Now, me and Oprah, we have a love-hate relationship. She don't know it because, of course, we've never met. But it's like, I love Oprah's brilliance, and I love Oprah's tenacity and her work ethic, and the fact that, she came from the mud like most of us, but she made something of herself. And Oprah made a comment one time. She said that, I don't know if it was her mother or her grandmother, told her to get her some good white folk to work for, and she would be good. And I said, I totally understand that, because, I've had some good white folk in my life that have put me in positions that I may not have been in otherwise. Totally understand that. But I felt that Oprah had the opportunity to ask Michael Jackson any questions that she wanted to ask him while he was alive. He sat down. That's probably like one of Oprah's highest rated and most viewed interviews ever. So why wait until after his death to do that Finding Neverland? That shit, no, not cool at all. Still respect Oprah. Plan to work with her sometime in this life. I'm getting past the, I want to. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to work with Oprah. I'm going to work with Tyler Perry. I'm speaking into existence. So, Oprah, we'll talk about this, when we meet face to face. If you have a problem with what I said, we'll talk about it. Don't worry about it. We'll talk about it, and then we'll get down to work, and, we'll make more money, and we'll do brilliant things for the culture. The next thing that is really going around that has me with an opinion, because of course I have an opinion about everything, is the whole Dwayne and Gabrielle Union Wade kid thing. I have real strong opinions about stuff like this, and some of those opinions have changed with education. Some have not, some never will. What I will say is, and I'm not trying to offend anyone, I'm telling you what I think and how I feel. Transgender is stupid. That is my opinion. A man can't feel like a woman because he doesn't know what a woman feels like, and a woman can't feel like a man because she doesn't know what a man feels like. It's stupid. Let it go. And I've always asked the question with homosexuals, because I've always noticed that the homosexual people that I know are so extra. And I'm like, if you're supposed to be patterning yourself after females, which females act like that? None that I know. And I'm not talking about all homosexuals. I'm talking about the overtly flamboyant males. I don't know women like that. I'm not a woman like that. So where do you get that extra from? Because it's not a pattern of something you've seen from females, because majority of them don't do that, don't act like that. So where does it come from? Is this just your idea of what women should act like, or what you should act like is a person in the LGBT community, or what? I don't know. I've never gotten that. I just always thought it was extra. I don't understand it. Now, having said that, I will tell you that I have family members that are gay. Best friend's gay. He's my son's godfather. There's things about the LGBTQ alphabet community that I don't agree with, but the reality is I don't love people for who they sleep with or who they don't. So it doesn't matter to me if you're gay, straight, or whatever. As long as we ain't sleeping with the same person, we have no problem. I love people for who they are and how they treat me. So If you're a good person who treats me well, I'm going to be a good person to you, and I'm going to treat you well. And who you sleep with and what you choose to wear, none of that's going to matter. However, when it comes to children, I think that parents need to take a stand, because it's not your job to be your child's friend. It is your job to be your child's parent. There are a lot of things that I felt like I should be able to do as a kid, and my mother wasn't having it, because she wasn't my friend. She is now, but she wasn't then. She was my mother first, and she did what was in my best interest and not what I thought was best for me. And I think that in this new day and age, people are so worried about accepting these things that are thrown out as the new norm and being politically correct and leaning in. And some of this stuff we don't need to be co-signing. That's just what it is. Some of these things don't need to be co-signed, because if that's the case and you can do what you want and you can feel how you feel, as long as it doesn't affect anybody else. Reality is, all of these new decisions that people are making in their lives are affecting other people. Because when I went to school, you didn't read a book about same-sex families. Now you do. There's a cartoon. I looked at it. I was like, oh, I'm going to look at this cartoon. And then I see it's, the two kings and their little girl. And, a cartoon's going to attract a kid. So let's not push those agendas on kids. That's how I feel. And as far as the transgender and raising your kids as they and them, that's stupid too. To me, they and them is plural. I'm not calling one person they or them. I'm not doing it. Sam Smith and nobody else. I don't care how you feel about it. And that's the truth. Ain't no need in sugarcoating it. You would hate me more if I was a liar. I would hate me if I were a liar, and I'm not. I just think that's crazy. And I think that kids making these decisions for sex reassignment and changing their names and all that's not decisions that children should be allowed to make. If you can't decide that you want to smoke a cigarette or have a drink of alcohol until you're 21, how can you decide you want to take hormones and change your sex at 12? Don't make sense to me. And I'm not saying that this is something that the government or law should be made. I'm just saying common sense. This does not make sense to me. If young Zion feels that he's homosexual or whatever he feels he wants to be, that's fine. He's a child. Parents make decisions for children. Children don't make decisions for themselves. So no, you're not changing your name to Zaya. No, you're not wearing this fingernail polish and dressing up in girls' clothes. And no, you're not. When you're 18 years old and you're a grown man and you choose to do those things, have at it. Because you're grown and you do what you want. As a child, your parents need to be making these decisions for you, and they need to be making the decisions that are best for you. Now, I think this young man is 14 years old or something like that. I'm not sure how old he is. But in 10 years, is he going to feel the same? I see these little kids, little boys in princess dresses. No, sir, no, ma'am. That's not cool. Little boys can't be princesses. They can be a prince. That's all. Why do you say who makes these rules? Nature. Because you can get a sex change. And, Bruce Jenner's now Caitlyn. But I bet if Caitlyn commits a crime, the police are going to be looking for a man, because that's what the DNA says. And that is my problem that I have with this. Not that the LGBT community is just going out to commit crimes, but let's just say that happens. Because not all people are good, not all people are bad, and that doesn't make any difference what their sexual orientation is. We got straight people out here committing crimes. We got gay people out here committing crimes. We got people committing crimes because not all people are nice, and some people are just heinous, ridiculous ass individuals. That is what it is. Now, if you just happen to be a heinous, ridiculous individual who's had sex reassignment, so the witness to the crime says it's a woman, but the DNA says it's a man. I mean, these are things that I think about, because you can do what you want, but that's not going to change. You can buy whatever you want to buy from the doctor and call yourself whatever you want to call yourself, and that's not going to change. And so I have a problem with young Zion becoming Zaya, because I think he's too young to make a life-altering decision of that caliber. And I think that his parents are supposed to be the ones to explain that to him. Not saying that they don't love him, they don't accept him for who he is, saying, let us look at this intelligibly and make the decision that is right for you right now. Because 10 years from now, if you still feel the same way, you can change it. But you can't go back and forth like that. And I just don't understand why. And I can't tell Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade how to raise their children, because you can't come in my house and tell me how to raise mine. But I have an opinion about it. And because it's been made public, it has also been made fodder for public opinion. Excuse me. And my opinion is that's a no-go. And it doesn't, if you tell your children no, and I think that's another thing that I'm having a problem with. These kids are getting these expensive shoes. It's not just, about sexuality. It's about a lot of things that don't need to go on. My 10-year-old has a cell phone. I am absolutely against it, but his father thought it was a good idea. At 10, I didn't have a telephone in my bedroom, and I know that was a different time. No, I had to sit in a common area in the house and have my little conversation, because there wasn't any secrets, because I was 10. And I feel the same way. But my 10-year-old has a cell phone. So now, because my 10-year-old has a cell phone, but lives in my house, I have to now guard everything, because once you have access to that media, and you're on social media and you're just playing games. But I mean, how many times have sexually explicit Easter eggs been dropped into the Roblox game? Things like that. So now I got to monitor something else that could bring the outside world into my house. And I don't think it's necessary. These little kids that can't read, but they got Jordans in every color. And this is just my opinion. Somebody might say, oh, well, she allows her child to do this, or she doesn't allow her child to do that. And I don't agree. And they have that right to not agree. Nothing they say is going to change the way I raise my child. I can't even say that, because if they say something intelligent, I'm going to listen. I'm going to sit back and think, hey, maybe I was wrong. Let me run that back. But I raise my child the way that I think is best for him. And I understand that the Wades are doing the same thing. I'm just saying my public opinion is that I disagree. Not going to change how they raise their son, daughter, whatever they want to consider him. To me, he's young Prince Zion, and that's who he's going to be. Never met this child, probably never will, so it's never going to be an issue. Just my opinion. I'm only popular when I'm trying to talk to you. Nobody talks to me all day. Nobody calls me. Nobody texts me. Now my phone's like jumping. Sorry. What else is going on? Trump's still an asshole, but we knew that. Don't know what happened in the Senate and how the impeachment fell through, except they just didn't want to do it anyway. I heard Mittens jumped on our side, though. Mitt Romney. I don't know if that was a good or a bad thing. Don't really know. But I pretty much disagree with everything Donald Trump does, and I disagree with all supporters. And I try to maintain if you're a Donald Trump supporter, that does not necessarily mean you're a hateful racist, but they're making it so much harder to hold on to that position. And I'm like, people have a right to think, feel, and be and do whatever they want and however they want. You have a right to be a racist. You absolutely do. I think it's stupid. I don't know why you would want to, but you absolutely have a right to be a racist. This week, my little cousin, I think she's 9, working on a project in school in the state of Virginia. And her teacher told her that only people of the same race could be in your family. She raised her hand and told the teacher that was not true. You could have different races of people in your family. The teacher told her she was incorrect and to carry on with her work for the day. And I'm like, I hope some adult my cousins, her parents, somebody has addressed this, because that is ignorant and it's inaccurate, and you're a teacher and you're not there to teach them your public opinion. And the reason that my little cousin was absolutely adamant that this was not true is because we have a multiracial family, first and foremost. And secondly, her best friend is a little black girl who was adopted by a white couple. So her best friend's parents, who are definitely her family, are not the same race as her. And so she was really troubled that the teacher said that. And I was really troubled that the teacher said that once I heard about it, because I'm like, where do they get these people, and where do these people get off? And I just feel like in this melting pot that is the United States, there's no room for hate, ignorance, and racism. Like I said, you could feel however you want, but why would you want to? It takes so much energy to be angry. And I'm learning that because I was an angry teenager. I really was. And it just takes so much energy. And the older I get, I'll be 40 next month. And the older I get, the less I want to be angry. The less I want to be in negative situations. Where before I would be confrontational, now I walk away. Because it takes too much energy to be angry and hateful when you could love. And there's, so many different people you could love, and so many different cultures, and you can learn things, and you can be friends. And then you have that family that biology gave you, but that family that love gave you is something serious. And I would rather spend my time making those kinds of connections and relationships than to be hateful and ignorant. So I kind of just feel like Donald Trump's hateful, ignorant, misogynistic jerk who just happens to work in the Oval. Still trying to figure out how this shit happened. I guess because the Simpsons said it was going to happen. It was going to happen. And they said his ass was going to die too. So I'm waiting on that. Not saying I'm trying to kill the president. Don't have motherfucking SWAT at my door. I'm a veteran who respects this country, but I don't respect offices, so to speak. I respect character and people. So if your character says you shouldn't be in that office, then I have no respect for you. And Donald J. Trump should not be in that office. We're talking about an asshole who lusts after his own child. Nasty bastard. But anyway, that's a whole nother video and whole nother thread that would keep me going forever. I don't know what else. Billy Porter. Let's talk about Billy Porter. Billy Porter is so free and just happy to be himself that I have prepared myself for Billy to be extra, for his wardrobe to be over the top. And he does not disappoint. He absolutely does not. But the blue lampshade, oh, that was too much for me. That was entirely too much. And it didn't look good. My personal opinion. Billy was feeling himself, and that is all that is necessary. But my personal opinion was that was a no-go, bro. And I was cool at first because when I saw him, I was like, the makeup's a bit extra, but Billy's extra, so this is, what we do. But once I seen him with that hat on, oh no, bro, you done did too much. So I'm just like, wondering what you guys thought about that. Who was it? Was it Pastor Troy? Might have been Pastor Troy. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on. And this goes back to the LGBTQ because that's a hot button. I kind of think it's a trend that everybody wants to be on. And that's not to knock anybody who chooses to live their life that way. And yes, don't correct me. Don't come for me. I said chooses to live their life because I do believe it's a choice. I could be wrong. I don't know everything. This is just my opinion. That's what we do here in T's Corner. We share our opinion. So, Pastor Troy said, as for me and my house, that's a no-go. You're not coming out dressed like that. My son ain't gonna be gay. He's gonna be a man. And he was on Headcrack's radio show, and they were asking him if he thought being homosexual meant you weren't a man. And he was like, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I'm raising a black heterosexual man, and I'm not going to condone things like that in my house. And I have too said the same thing when it comes to my son. I'm raising a man. But then, like I said, his godfather is homosexual. He is 100% a man. He's brilliant. He's respectable. Holds a prestigious job. A great guy. And he's not any less of a man because he chooses to be homosexual or, that's the lifestyle that he lives. He is not. And trust me, he and I have these conversations thoroughly. So whatever your opinion is on the pro side of LGBTQ alphabet community, trust me, I've heard it. But they were just saying he was wrong and he was, singling out, and he's homophobic and transphobic and all this. And that word really bothers me. There's a young man on my job who is homosexual. And if you say anything other than I love gay people, bitch, you are so fierce, he's offended. And my theory is, if you live an alternative lifestyle, you have to have a thick skin, because not everybody's going to agree. Some people are going to be rude and nasty and hateful. Some people are just going to respectfully disagree. You cannot take offense to that. You will have a very hard life if you take offense to everything. And my own theory is you're not comfortable in who you are and how you're living if you're offended by something that's not offensive. Now, if somebody comes up to you and they're a complete asshole and they say something like, oh, faggots this, or, blah, blah. Okay, be offended, because that's offensive. Take offense to something that's offensive. But just because someone respectfully disagrees with your lifestyle, that's not offensive. And you can't take offense to that. And I just think that sometimes people are a little too sensitive. It's good to be sensitive, but me saying that I disagree with something you do does not mean I hate you. Does not mean that I don't want you in this country or in this world or what. It just means I don't agree. And I felt like when some of the people were calling in to the radio station to comment on it, they were taking it to that level. And the whole thing with what's his name? Somebody said, one of the actors said something. God, what is his name? I can't think of it right now. But made a comment about transgender people taking over in Olympics and sporting competitions and things, participating as the sex that they choose instead of the sex they were born. And it's not fair, and it's another way for men to take advantage of and manipulate and lord their power over women. And I mean, everybody went in on him, like actor Oliver Stark, and everybody was like, oh, that's so transphobic and blah, blah, blah. First of all, anything that's a phobia means it's a fear. Because I disagree with something does not mean I'm afraid of it. It means I disagree with it. So homophobic and transphobic and all those words are stupid, and somebody needs to come up with a new way to describe I disagree with homosexuality or I disagree with alternative lifestyle, because I'm not afraid of it. I just don't agree with it. And I personally agreed with what he said. God, I wish I could tell you who it was, but I'm sure you guys have heard it. It was a big deal on the internet for a while, leading up to the Oscars and whatever. Because I think, just like I said with the whole DNA thing, your DNA is still the same. So you can take hormone replacement pills and you're still a man. You're still naturally stronger and more muscular than a female. So yeah, you'll probably outrun her. That's not to say that you will outrun every female. There could be some that are naturally faster. And as far as the beauty pageant stuff, one of my friends, may he rest in peace, was a beautiful man who was homosexual and always looked like a little girl. And he decided to, be trans and looked very much like a woman, beautiful. And didn't need any, surgical enhancements to do so. He was just naturally beautiful, grew his hair out, and there you have it. And I actually had straight male guys come up to me and ask me to, hook him up with him. And like, you don't want that. Let that ride. But they're doing the pageants and whatever. And one of the homosexual people that I spoke with about it says, well, I know a lot of transgender and homo guys who look better than females naturally. I said, I know some too, but that's not the point. And it's not going to be only the ones who naturally have feminine features. It's going to be the ones that have the store-bought ones too. I don't personally think that's fair in a beauty pageant contest. Not that I'm all into beauty pageants and what have you. I just don't think it's fair. So my suggestion was, Why don't they have like a Miss Trans World or something? Let them have their own thing, as opposed to impeding on the females, because there's so much. The females have come a long way since suffrage, but there is still so far to go. And this is just another monkey wrench in the game. I totally agree. I'm not transphobic or homophobic or whatever. Like I said, grown people do what they want. That's how I feel. But again, you're free to do whatever you want as long as it doesn't impede on somebody else's freedoms. This whole ideal is impeding on everybody. In the classrooms, in sporting events, things like this. It's everywhere. And you don't want to exclude these people from life because that's not cool. But they can't be included in everything. Like the tampon thing. And I'm sorry, I know I'm rambling and I'm going on, and this video is 30 minutes and I don't usually go that long because I know you guys don't want to sit up and watch it. But the tampon thing, the feminine hygiene products, are now no longer able to say women because men have periods too. No, the fuck they don't. Kind of one of those things that separates us. Men can't get pregnant. Men can't have periods. Trust me, I wish the fuck they could, the way these cramps come in once a month. I truly wish that men knew what that was about. But they don't. If you choose to live your life as a man and you were born a woman, so you need to have feminine hygiene products, it's because you were a woman. Just goes back to what I said. They can't change their DNA. Can't change that either. So you can call yourself Bruce instead of Caitlyn, but Bruce gonna have a period, and that don't mean men have a period. That means Bruce is a woman. Right? These are just my opinions. This is what's hot right now. This is what I'm saying is trending topics on social media and whatever. And just a side note, I don't know if this is even news anymore, but I know I'd heard it recently, and Wendy Williams is going through and she doesn't want to talk about her life, and she's offended that people are, asking personal questions. And you know what I say to that? Suck it up, Buttercup. You have been dragging people for decades. It's your turn. All right, this is T signing off from T's Corner. You guys have a blessed day.